Welcome to the XYZ Experiment podcast. My name is Darsh and I've got Fiona with me today. So Gen Y and Gen X on the podcast with you today. And we wanted to talk to you about something we have both been experiencing, which is gut issues. And we both have had gut issues for quite a long time, but both of us attributed these symptoms and issues to something else. And then we were both diagnosed with fairly serious autoimmune conditions. So we wanted to chat to you about that and just kind of raise a bit of awareness about how we might be thinking about things that might be happening in our body and, what our story told us about that. So Fiona, let's start with you.
Yes.
What happened with your gut?
Well, I'd had a bad gut for, I think, about 12 months. And I kept thinking, oh, it's IBS or I'm stressed or I don't know if many of our listeners know that I take Ozempic as well as part of a study for type 1s on Ozempic. And I think, oh, it's the Ozempic. It's because, you read lots of things saying Ozempic can cause stomach issues and cause you to have all sorts of problems. So I kept thinking, oh, it's the Ozempic. And my husband kept saying to me, come off the Ozempic, come off the Ozempic.
Mm.
That's what the problem is. So, decreasing the Ozempic dose by myself, like I'm not even getting medical help with that. So I'm just like, oh, well,
Really?
yeah, of course. So ridiculous. So like I'm halving the dose and I'm making quarter dose and I'm thinking I'm not getting any better. And then I was thinking, well, maybe I just need to come off Ozempic. So I come off Ozempic and things get a little bit better for like a couple of days and then all the symptoms are back again. So I go to see my specialist, and my specialist is an endocrinologist, and I'm saying to them, look, I'm having problems with Ozempic. That's my words. I'm having problems with Ozempic. It's giving me lots of gut issues over the last sort of 12 months. And then the specialist says to me, have you considered that it actually might be celiac disease? Because type 1 diabetics, which you and I both are, Dash, have an 8% chance of developing celiac disease. Now, I will tell you that that didn't cross my mind at all because
Mm.
I thought celiac disease was something you were born with. I
Oh,
didn't
did
realize. Yeah,
you?
yeah. I
Interesting.
actually didn't realize that you can develop celiac disease.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
know that you can develop? Well, you
Yeah.
probably knew. I didn't know. So I'm like, oh, and I know I'd been tested for it in the past, but not for actually quite a long time. And so the worst part of it was I was told I then had to eat quite a bit of gluten. Well, what is celiac disease? Celiac disease is you can't tolerate gluten in anything, and gluten's in like, wheat products, rye products, some oats, all different sorts of things. And
It's
so,
not just that you can't tolerate it, you have an immune response to it when you
yeah,
do eat it.
and the immune response is really dramatic, like really,
Mm.
really dramatic. And Um, probably the worst thing for me was the specialist said to me, "You're going to have to eat a whole lot of gluten so we can actually get the blood test." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay," because it was like a light bulb moment. When she said, "If you consider it's celiac," and then realizing I could develop it because I realized in that very moment, without even the blood test, this is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it hadn't occurred to me. Well, I do know because I thought you don't develop it. But that was an exact aha moment for me. And so then to be told, oh, now you got to eat some gluten to test
Get
for it, I was like,
tested.
I don't want to do that.
Did you end up having to have a colonoscopy or
That's my next thing.
endoscopy?
I haven't
Yeah.
had that yet, and that's because that's for definitive. I had the blood test. Yes, I'm celiac, and then now my next thing is my colonoscopy to take a sample and have a look, and also to make sure there's not other issues like gastritis and all that sort of stuff. But I would tell you, Dash, I started to think, oh my God, I've got cancer. That's what I started to
Really?
think. Yeah, yeah. I
Why were
just
you thinking that?
because my dad had colon cancer in his 50s. Yeah.
Oh,
So I did that free test, that free
yeah.
test when you're over 50, you get sent a free test. I did that and
Which is like fun because you have to do a stool sample and send it
so
back.
funny. That is it. But you know what? It was so easy. It was
Yeah.
so easy because everything just flushes. But that came back negative. So I thought, well, okay, I don't have cancer. It's definitely the Ozempic. So, so
Goodness.
anyway, we'll go into more of that. But Dash, I know you've also had gut issues because you and I have
Yes.
been speaking about it quite a bit over the last 12 months. What's happened to you?
Well, I guess also to tell our listeners, I also have celiac disease, but and it's in my family, and I have both genes for celiac, but like you were just talking about, I cannot tolerate gluten at all. So I haven't been able to eat it to then have a colonoscopy to confirm it. But all my specialists, the multiple that I have said,
Yeah,
don't worry, just say you are celiac
you are celiac.
based
Yeah.
on, because I get also non gastrointestinal symptoms. So I can't
Yes.
walk when I have gluten.
Yes.
I
That's
get
pretty
very,
severe.
yeah, it's pretty severe.
Yeah.
And funny side story, I'd cut out gluten, but didn't realize gluten is in beer.
Ah,
And
yeah.
I
Yeah.
drank beer at a, really nice restaurant that was by the water. It was a beautiful day, and I literally couldn't walk home. Scott had to like carry me home. It was a 10-minute
Wow.
walk. Well, like prop me up and walk. And I was like, God, what happened? Anyway, it was pretty bad. So then I was like, okay, yep, this is quite a severe reaction.
Yeah.
But separate to that, so I'd cut out, I have been gluten free for 4 or 5 years, to be honest.
Oh, really? That long?
Yeah, it's been quite a long time, and I have felt 100% better on it.
Yeah.
And the other thing I noticed is it was almost like someone had taken a pin to me and I deflated. As soon as I cut out gluten, my fingers all like went back to a normal size. My face like shrunk. Anyway, it was fascinating to see how much I had been like bloated, I guess, but like my whole body had been bloated anyway. But my other gut issues, so probably
On
12
top of
months ago,
this, on top of
on
it,
top of
yeah.
this, on 12 months ago, I had switched for quite a while to be having yogurt and blueberries for
Okay.
breakfast.
Yeah.
And because also as type ones, you're trying to eat things that don't spike your blood sugar too much in the morning, etc. And that was like keeping my blood sugar really stable. And I started to have really awful gastrointestinal issues. And I blamed the blueberries because I had read multiple times how many recalls blueberries get because they've
Yes.
got some kind of bacteria in them or whatever. So I was like, okay, it's the blueberries. So I stopped eating the blueberries. But these gut issues continued and continued. And I just was putting up with them because I was busy, did think it was probably stress a little bit, thought I was getting glutened on a regular
Yeah.
basis, was trying to think because I do eat out a fair bit. So I was like, oh, maybe it's because I'm getting glutened when I eat out. But then my key thing was I lost weight. So I lost probably about 8 kilos during that time. And I went, I don't lose weight unintentionally.
That's a
That's
lot of weight. That's actually that's more than 10% your body weight. That's quite a bit.
it was quite a bit. And the thing is, I don't weigh myself that regularly.
Mm.
So I'd kind of weighed myself at the start, like at the start of last year. And I kind of had a rough idea because I have to give my weight anytime I have an infusion. And then I was like noticing my clothes weren't fitting as well. And then I weighed myself and I'd lost like maybe 3 or 4 kilos, put it down to being good with my food, wasn't the case. And then I just kept losing weight. So I was like, okay, I went to the GP and he was like, well, maybe you do have a bug. Again, it's because I started with the story of the blueberries, right? So I said,
Yes.
oh, yeah, I had blueberries and I think I got some kind of infection. So he was like, I could give you antibiotics. And I said, I think I need to have more testing than that because I don't, it could also be something else. And if I do have a bug, let's work out what bug it is. Because I have in the past had bugs and been antibiotic resistant to some of
Yeah.
them.
Okay.
Anyway, this is a complex history. So I had to do a stool sample and they
Yeah.
tested it for this is too much information probably for our listeners, but they not only do they test it for cancer, they test it for inflammatory markers or they test it for something to do with inflammatory bowel disease. And
Yes.
that came back super, super high.
Ah,
So
okay.
then
Yeah.
I had to go see a specialist, and then
Yeah.
I had to have a colonoscopy and endoscopy, which was a bit of a drama in and of itself, but we can come back to that. And then I was told I have inflammatory bowel disease, and then more specifically, I was told I have Crohn's disease.
It's crazy. Just crazy.
I know.
Can you tell me, like, as a type 1, right?
Yeah.
because you and I are quite different in what happens with our bodies with different conditions. When I first became type 1, I actually thought to myself, and I think this is why my celiac diagnosis came so late for me, and it's my own fault, because I've always thought, oh well, I got type 1 diabetes. I'm not going to get anything else. Like, I
Very
really did think that.
optimistic thinking.
Yeah, I thought, oh, I've done my stat. I've done my stat. You know, I'm not going to get breast cancer. I'm not going to get like I know that sounds really crazy to say, but
Yeah.
I had that mindset. Whereas, do you have that mindset at all? You think, okay, I've got MS, I've got the type 1. I can't be developing anything else. Or do you just think, what else is it? Like,
Well, so I've had MS for almost 20 years.
yes,
And as soon as I got MS, I knew it was an autoimmune condition. I knew, and it's because of my biomed training, I knew that once you have one autoimmune condition, you're more likely to develop
another.
others, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I would routinely get screened for different autoimmune conditions by my neurologist. When I got type 1, my specialists, because I had one specialist and she retired and I got another specialist, always said to me, there's a cluster with type 1. So
Oh, okay.
celiacs,
Yeah.
thyroid disease,
Thyroid. Yeah.
um, and a few others. And so once a year, they would always screen for those, which is
Yeah.
why I was like confused as to why you hadn't been getting screened or getting that blood test on a regular basis,
You know, it could be I was being screened,
but you
but
didn't know.
during the week I didn't eat that much gluten. And so it could be because if you're not eating a lot of gluten, it doesn't come up in the screening, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they would always say to me, what other symptoms are you experiencing right now? Like they were very on top of, oh, this could be this or this could be that. I've even been screened for Cushing's
Oh,
or
okay. Yeah.
Addison's disease,
Yes.
all sorts of things,
Yes. Yeah.
because they're all clustered
Yeah.
together.
Okay.
And so I think I always knew I was at risk of developing. So I now have 6 autoimmune diseases. Fun times.
6.
6.
I'm laughing because it's crazy.
It's
It's just
crazy.
crazy.
And the issue is their symptoms overlap. So sometimes you're like,
Uh,
what's
what is
causing
it?
what? Yeah. Um, so you tell me, how are you feeling about having now a
Had the
second?
diagnosis.
Yeah.
I think just going back to the diagnosis itself, I think one of the reasons why for a long time myself and my specialist all thought it was the Ozempic was because I give myself Ozempic on a Friday. So that's my Ozempic day. And
Ah,
then, but in my lifestyle, on Saturday morning, the first thing I would do on Saturday morning is go to my favorite bakery in Collingwood. I would buy my bread, I would buy a pastry, and then I might be back there again on Sunday and I would eat gluten material all weekend.
yeah.
And so I'd be crook right up till Monday. And I was thinking, oh, it's the Ozempic because it's the first couple of days. And then I'd hit Monday and I might still be a little bit crook. But then when I'm back at work, I drink a lot of protein drinks during my work days and they don't have any gluten in them. And then at nighttime, I was cooking a lot of things that had rice instead of, like I wasn't eating pasta, I was eating a lot of vegetable and rice. So then I'd get better, better, better until Friday. And I think, oh, yeah, it's definitely the Ozempic and it's wearing off now. And that's
Yeah.
what the problem was. And I think maybe the blood tests weren't showing up because I'd have the blood test on Friday morning because that's my day off. So I've had
Yeah.
very low gluten for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's, part of the problem of the diagnosis. But the going back to your question, it's it's since I've come off the gluten, and now for me it's been maybe 4 weeks. It's been,
Yeah.
and it's not something that's going to happen overnight, obviously, but every week it's better and better and better. Like I feel better each week. But it's hard. I mean, I only have to think, well, I also have FODMAPs where I can't have garlic and onion as well, but it's a massive lifestyle change. Like
Mm,
it's a massive lifestyle change. And the thing as well with it is there's a grieving process with it. I know that sounds weird, but I can't do that ritual of going to the bakery anymore. And I
no.
used to love doing that. That because I grew up with that as a kid. Like a couple of my friends have said to me, one of the reasons they love to stay on a Friday night after school at my house, sleep the night, was because my dad would bring the fresh bread on Saturday
Yeah.
morning. And they actually say that now in our 50s. My friends go, "Oh, I still remember the fresh bread." So it's giving away those sorts of rituals as well, and the things that you love, the food that you love. And it's surprising what has gluten in it and wheat in it in
Yes.
Australia. Actually, it's quite
Quite a lot.
shocking. It's more than people realize, like a lot more than people realize. Even in things like lollies, and I'm talking about lollies like a snake or something like that. They've got gluten in them. You're like, how
Yeah.
does that have gluten in it? Like, I don't
Well, it's like
understand.
how I told you the jelly beans we use to treat our type 1 when we're having a hypo has gluten in it.
I know. And so then I mean, you would probably be the same. It's a lot of research on the
It's a
internet.
lot.
Yeah, I've done more reading. I reckon I've done more about being celiac than I did about being type 1. Just
Well, you have the internet now when you
yeah,
were
yeah, yeah.
diagnosed with
Yeah,
type
back then I
1,
didn't have the
you did.
internet. Yeah.
But it is interesting because it is in a lot of sources, and so you have to read the ingredients.
Yeah.
And Australia's got some really strict food labeling
Yes.
laws, which is great. And so when they say gluten free, you can trust that it's gluten free. But then
Yeah.
sometimes you have to read it and think, oh, this is gluten free by ingredient,
Yeah.
but it hasn't got the label that it's gluten free, maybe because it wasn't manufactured in Australia. Or it will say, what does it say? Low gluten or may contain gluten.
Yes.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not gluten
Gluten
free or
free.
that it's
Yeah.
going to impact you. So it's very confusing.
It's I went to a gluten-free shop last week and had a really long chat to the owner of that shop. He was fantastic. And he was telling me all of that about how strict Australian laws are. Because literally, if it's gluten-free in Australia, it was made in a factory that actually has no gluten in it anywhere.
Yeah.
But a lot of products in Australia, they're making gluten products right next door to their no
Yeah.
gluten product. And so they're not allowed to have that tag gluten-free.
Yeah.
And so I had spent the last few years searching out things that don't have onion and garlic, right? So
Yeah.
so I had a whole food thing built around that, like my pasta sauces, different types of sauces like curries and things like that. And so I thought, oh, okay, I'll just have a look at these ones that I already know and love and I've trusted. Oh my God, it's got gluten in it. Even though it has
Yeah.
no wheat and it just says may contain traces of gluten. And I'm like, oh my God, where am I going to now find that pasta sauce that doesn't have gluten, that doesn't have onion, that doesn't have garlic in it? Where am I going to find the, I don't know, it's a crazy journey. It's a
It
really
is.
crazy. I never realized how serious it was. I just because I've seen lots of clients who come in and say, oh, they're celiac. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, Now when they go, they're celiac, I'm like, oh my God, like, how are you going?
Yeah.
It just seems so much more serious to me now that I know. And even things like they say to you, don't go to a restaurant and say, "Oh, I'm gluten free." Actually say to the
Say you're
restaurant, "I
celiac.
am celiac,"
Mm-hmm.
because then they take that more seriously. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people go gluten free because they feel better not being on gluten, and I get it. But if you're celiac, the gluten is literally killing you,
Yeah.
literally taking years off your life if you keep eating it. So that's why I just didn't understand. And I've got to say, like since coming off the gluten, I feel like my brain's come back.
Yeah.
I really do. Like I feel like me again. For a long
Brain
time,
fog.
I'd really lost myself and I was blaming menopause. I was
Yeah.
thinking, oh, it's menopause. This is just I mean, I'm post-menopause, but I kept thinking, oh, it's menopause. It's definitely menopause. It wasn't. It's actually the gluten. Like
Yeah.
how can that sort of product cause so much problems for someone? I don't know. I don't know.
Inflammation, my friend. Inflammation. It
It
can happen
is.
anywhere in your body.
It
Yeah.
is inflammation. It's just, and now, like, because I started with I'm on Ozempic, I can tolerate any dose of Ozempic now. No problems
Isn't
at
that
all.
interesting?
Like, no, no, I'm not getting a single side effect from Ozempic. And yet I was blaming everything on that,
Yeah.
everything on that. And yeah, I just, I can't imagine having the stuff on top of it. Tell us a bit about Crohn's disease, Dash.
Yeah.
How's that different again?
So Crohn's disease means that you have inflammation somewhere in your digestive tract.
Yeah.
So mine is towards the end of my digestive tract.
Okay.
And it was very interesting because the gastroenterologist was like, I couldn't see any evidence of celiacs when I
Mm.
went in, but I was like,
Yeah.
well, I haven't eaten gluten for like four or
Because you
five
have to be
years.
eating it to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, which is why I hadn't had it. And God, it was so awful getting that colonoscopy, endoscopy as a type 1 because
Yeah.
you have to take the drink. You're kind of fasting. So I was third on the list. Um, I was so unwell with the drink. I didn't realize my ketones, which, are kind of bad, had got to 0.9 because I
Wow.
didn't have ketone strips, but they tested me
Yeah.
in a hospital, but they still went ahead with it. And then halfway through the procedure, my I have had been having real troubles keeping my blood sugar up
Yes.
while I was taking the drink to flush out my system. And then I was fasting. So I was thinking, God, I can't have jelly beans, but I was drinking lemonade because you can drink
Yes. It's
lemonade.
clear. Yeah.
And but then during my procedure, my blood sugar crashed. So they had to give me glucose
Yeah.
while I was under. Anyway, that was all fine. But Crohn's is really, so I was diagnosed with Crohn's maybe October
Hmm.
last year.
Yeah.
We're now in March. I've been on 4 different medications and we haven't got it under control. Although this
Oh,
new one that I've just started, I think may be working.
okay.
And in March, what are we in now? April. Yeah,
We're in
in
April. Yeah.
March, I had a fever for 4 days. Who knows why? Tested negative on everything else.
Yeah.
But it really impacted my stomach to the point that, well, my gastro tract, I was probably going to the bathroom 15 to 20 times. I was
A
bleeding
day.
a day. And this is the
Wow.
things with Crohn's, which I'd never had with celiacs, is it is disgusting. Like
Yeah.
honest to God.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who has a very low ick factor. Like
Yeah.
I was grossing myself out
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
end
Yeah.
just because the amount of times I was going to the bathroom, what it looked like, because there is blood. Like it's
Yeah.
actually quite scary
Yeah.
seeing that.
Yeah.
Um, and then I was just feeling so, so terrible. So, so terrible. My B12 levels plummeted. Well, anyway, all of this stuff. So that's what Crohn's does. But I've had to now also go on a very strict FODMAP diet
Which
for
is
the
another whole
next
thing.
3 or 4 weeks because
Yeah.
my symptoms haven't been getting controlled by all of these biologics that I've been on. So I've been having infusions after infusions after infusions, and it hasn't been getting under control. And there's lots of infusions I can't have, or lots of treatments I can't have because they're contraindicated with the drugs that, or with being having MS.
Yeah.
So my poor specialists all have to have these teleconference calls. And I was on steroids, which was mucking up type 1. Anyway, they're all on this teleconference call being like, what the hell do we do with her? Like, what drugs can we put her on?
Hmm. How can we do this?
How
Are
can
you
we do
still
this?
losing weight?
I think I've stopped, but in total, I think I had gotten down to 11 kilos lost in
That's a
total.
lot, Dash. That's like
And
15%.
I know, and 3 kilos was lost in a week, which I know it would gain back
Yeah.
because it's like it was because I wasn't absorbing anything. I was so
Yes.
dehydrated.
Yes.
I know a lot of it was water weight, so it's going to come back.
Yes.
So that wasn't the issue. It was just I was so unwell. I was
Yeah.
so, so unwell. And it's so interesting. I'm so lucky with the people I work with. Back in the day, I didn't used to tell anyone how sick
Yeah.
I was because you can't tell. You can't tell from looking at you or me
Yeah.
that we carry these health conditions with
No.
us. Um, and so I didn't used to tell people, but now I do tell my team because I was so unwell and we were teaching an online course for 3 days, height of unwellness. And
Yes.
I'd be in the middle of kind of lecturing or answering a question, and I'd just have to send a private message to my co facilitator and be like, you've got to take over, I've got to run. to the
Yeah.
bathroom, and they would just do it seamlessly. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my
Yeah.
God. I had other staff members who were helping get a tender together, and they
Yeah.
just did so much of the heavy lifting. So like I'm really blessed that way from a work perspective.
Yeah.
Um, and I can take during work time, you know how you said can only do my blood test on a Friday.
Yeah.
Academia is flexible in the sense that I can do blood tests, see doctors, all of that kind of stuff
When you
anytime
have
I
to.
need to,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
As long as it's not like clashing with teaching or like actual commitments. But if I have to do something, I've got an MRI coming up and it's at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Fine. I'm not going to
Yeah.
take time off
Yeah.
because I work extra hours anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah. So it's fine to do it that way.
Yeah,
So when I don't know if people if you don't have these conditions, people don't understand psychologically how it affects you as well. Like I think it affects your relationships and it affects your things because you're thinking so not you, me. I'm thinking I'm so yucky at the moment. Don't touch me. I'm just
yes.
so yucky
So,
at the moment. It's
I
just
so have icked myself out.
yeah, yeah, it's just oh please, I'm revolting at the moment. I think I actually said those words to my husband, like I'm revolting at the moment. So many showers and so many like yeah, just yeah, you do totally ick yourself out. And it's been really nice to go back to being normal, but also things like socially about going out to eat with your
Yeah,
friends. You know, like I can't go to a burger joint with somebody now. I can't have the chips. I can't have the burger bun. I can't it's really hard for like if we go, oh, let's go out to dinner or lunch, that's fine. But I have to look, are they going to have options for me to eat there? And can I trust that place that they're going to actually look after me? And even things like a hot chocolate can have gluten
gluten
in
in
it.
it.
It's just, and one of the things is I've asked a couple of places, oh, does that have gluten in it? And the people go, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. And
yeah,
you're like, okay, well, I can't risk it then. I'll have a cup of tea, thank you.
yeah,
Like you just can't. Yeah, and so that affects it as well. And then your friends are sort of saying, oh, we want to try this really new restaurant, blah, blah, blah. And you're thinking, well, I'm going to be the pain who's going to say, can I do this? Can I do that? And I recently got a gift voucher to one of the clubs I belong to that said, oh, come in, here's a $50 voucher towards a meal for you. And if you let us know in advance, we'll make a birthday cake for you. And I thought, well, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to have to say to them, the birthday cake has to be gluten free. Like,
yeah.
can you actually do that for me? And I feel like I'm putting something on them to say, can you make it gluten free? Like it's almost like I know it's okay to say that, but it's almost like, oh my God, are they going to go, what a pain? You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
I mean, I think, well, I mean, okay, so to take a step back,
yeah,
you and I have eaten out a lot,
yes,
and I'm
yes.
always like, well, we have to find a place
Yeah.
that's gluten free.
I've been doing that for a while with you. That's why I know
Yeah,
some places, that's for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And I have some amazing friends who like, because I do go out to eat a lot, but like they will actually on my behalf call
Yeah.
up restaurants and be
Oh,
like, because they'll be like, I really want to try this restaurant. I'm like, oh, I'll just, ring when I can to check that they're gluten free. And they're like,
yeah.
oh, I've already rung, I've already spoken to them, I've said we're coming, that you're gluten free.
Yeah.
They've told me X, Y, and Z. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the people I do go out with are either researchers or doctors, so
So
they
they're on
kind
it.
of they're
Yeah.
onto it quite
Yeah.
a bit. Um, so I do feel lucky that way.
Talking about family, I'm going to share a story, and I might have told you this privately, but my sister makes this lasagna, which I absolutely love. I really, really love it. And I was going over her house, and she said, "Oh, we're doing lasagna, but I'm going to make you a gluten-free version of this lasagna." So I turn up, and I'm just thinking, "Oh, how's this going to taste?" I haven't had a lasagna gluten-free yet. Anyway, she makes it. She's made this big dish because she's made enough for me to have for dinner that night and then take the rest home. And it tasted exactly like
Yeah,
her normal lasagna, right? And she's got no onion in it, no garlic, and it's all gluten free. I get in my car to drive home, and I've got this lasagna. And as I drive home, sound so crazy, but only people who understand what it's like when your diet is changed so much. I start to cry as I'm driving home. I got tears pouring down my face. Oh, it's going to make me feel a bit teary now because I couldn't believe that she had done that for me
Yeah.
and that I could still really enjoy that. Like it was such a showing of love for me. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Such a showing of love that she did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's crazy. I'll pull myself together very quickly.
It's not crazy though, because
Yeah.
you're so new to this. You're so new. And as you said, your diet did have a lot of your favorite foods, which are very high in gluten,
Yeah, really high.
really high in
I
gluten.
was
And
definitely
so,
a gluten girl, honestly.
yeah,
Like,
breads,
never realized how
pastas,
much. Yeah.
lasagnas. I know you said you didn't eat it during the week, but like even so, whereas
Yeah.
in my cultural heritage isn't a bread-based heritage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm more of a rice girl through and through. I
Yes.
will
Yeah.
crave rice more than I will crave, like, I will prefer to have rice and an omelette for breakfast than
Yes.
toast and an omelette for breakfast.
Yeah. See, I was brought up with toast. I'd have two pieces of toast every morning.
And so, yes, I do miss bread,
Yeah.
but probably not to the same extent as someone who that was like a core growing up
Yeah. Yeah.
food group. And I will say, people have gotten, well, like society has gotten much better with gluten-free foods. Like gluten-free pasta today is much better than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gluten-free cakes today, there's more bakeries that specialize in being 100% gluten-free and they have beautiful cakes. There's more restaurants that are 100% gluten-free.
Yes.
So I kind of, it's full on for you because I think it's a big shock because it's new, but
Yeah.
also you do love more foods that are gluten
It's a
full.
big change. It's a big change. The other thing as well is the scariness around you need sugar when you're having a sugar low and trying
I
to find
know.
sugar, trying to find the right sort of, people could go, oh, well, then you could just drink some juice, but with the FODMAPs, you can't do the
You
juice
can't
either.
drink
I
juice.
can I can eat a little bit of fruit, but I can't do a fruit juice. And so like it'd be like having lemonade or Coca-Cola or something like that in your fridge. And yeah, it's beforehand you just reach for a packet of snakes or you'd reach for a jelly bean or you'd reach for, that sort of stuff. And now you can't do that either. And that's a little bit of scariness around that about, but look, if I was in a bad situation and I
You
didn't
just eat
have,
it.
I would just eat it. I would just go, well, I'll just
Because you,
suffer
I
the
mean,
consequences.
which is the worst? Like
The
you'll
low blood
die from
sugar.
a loaf
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You're not going to die from ingesting a little bit of gluten.
Yeah.
Um, and it is interesting because even so, I've kind of, oh, I don't know, I do stupid things. Well, it's not stupid actually. So, because I had been so sick for 12 months, I'd mapped out where all the toilets were
Yes. Yeah.
wherever I was going. And I'd mapped out all the shops that would sell things that I could eat. So actually, Smith's salt and vinegar chips are gluten free.
Yeah.
And I will often eat that on my way home if I'm
Yeah.
having a low.
Yeah. And that will help with that because
That
that's
will
got
help.
people don't
High
realize they have a lot of
sugar.
sugar in them. They have high sugar. Yeah. I know because I get patients telling me that they're not a sweet tooth. They just eat crisps and I go, actually, they have a lot of sugar in them.
There, but I actually haven't checked to see if they've got onion or garlic in them.
They
I'll
probably,
have
oh,
to
who knows? They've
check.
probably got powder on it or something like that.
Mm,
Who knows? All the good stuff does. All the good stuff does. But it's I would say to anybody who's going through these sorts of conditions, and because of course it happens to people who aren't type 1 diabetics, of course,
100%.
it happens to a lot of people who don't have any of those medical conditions that it's tricky at the start and the diagnosis is tricky, but once you get there, it makes a huge difference, like a huge, huge difference. But it's not only physical, it's psychological as well.
It is. And I would say like some people will get diagnosed with say celiacs or Crohn's first, and
Yeah.
then they're at more risk for type 1.
Oh, okay.
So I'm constantly like checking in with my family members who have celiac, like, have you checked your blood sugar? I'm trying to poke them all the time
Yeah,
to go,
yeah, just
just
to make
check
sure.
because it's not always on people's radars. But I would also say women
Yeah,
in particular, and
yeah,
also like we know there's medical misogyny, that we put it down to other things
yeah,
first and foremost. We will put it down
yeah,
to stress. We will put
yeah,
it down to maybe I haven't been eating well, maybe I haven't
yeah,
done this, or maybe I haven't done that. we don't automatically go, oh, there is something wrong with me.
Yeah, it's so true.
And I think, the fact that you and I both had existing health conditions, but it took us 12 months.
12 months. Yeah.
It took us 12 months
Yeah.
to get to the point where we were like, we probably need to get this checked, which is like, that's ridiculous,
I know,
actually.
I know, I know, but you just blame yourself first. You just think I could do better. I could eat better and I could, you just do. And we have stressful lives. You go, okay, it's the stress.
It's just
It's
stress.
it's always something else rather than, and then, but of course, when the diagnosis comes through, you go, oh, of course,
Of
of
course,
course, all makes sense now.
100%, 100%. And then I sit there. So now I've got to have blueberries again because they're
Yes,
low FODMAP. And I'm like scared because I haven't had them since I blamed
because
them.
you
And they were
convince yourself.
probably 100% fine.
Yeah, convince yourself that was the problem.
That was the problem. But
Uh,
anyway, ah, so don't ignore the gut issues, people. You can
no,
get
don't.
diagnosed with these diseases at any age.
Yes, yes. I think that's the other thing too. Thinking, well, I've had my disease, I'm done. But you're actually not.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
absolutely. There was sorry, side note, there was
yeah,
a commentary that came out in Lancet Endocrinology and Diabetes. It's a very prestigious journal, which basically showed that again, 50% of people with a new diagnosis of type 1 or looking at the markers for type
yeah.
1 are adults.
Oh, okay.
And so, there's always this thing, oh, this only happens in childhood, or you're born with it, or this thing. And it's like, actually, no, it's not.
Because I think a lot of those sorts of things, like my dad's side of the family had a lot of very early young adult deaths and attributed to heart attack, and they now think it was type 1.
Wow,
Yeah, so
that's
they,
awful.
yeah, so because you're talking the 1960s,
Yeah,
um, and and they died of like they did die of a heart attack, but it was
yeah.
actually type 1, and
They
it
would have
was
been
a
in DKA
really
potentially.
big number, a really
Yeah.
big number, and because of course they look to see where in your family history, just because with my sister and I both having it, they were very interested to know what, and yeah, they think now that was probably type 1. Yeah, you don't
And your
know.
whole family now has to get screened for celiac, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So now they'll all be,
Because you can be celiac and have no symptoms. That's the other thing.
yes,
So you
yes.
can be asymptomatic.
Well, I think that's how I was for a long time. And then if I'd really had a lot, then I'd get sick and thought I was food poisoned.
Yes.
That's what I thought. I thought, oh, I've had a
Yeah.
really bad food poisoning, but it was actually celiac when I look back on it now. So, yeah. Yeah, because I used to think, why do I always get food poison? I used to get food poisoned all the time. Actually,
No,
I wasn't getting food poisoned.
nah.
I was celiac.
We have such complicated bodies, really. So I think, and I do want to say to people, honestly, if you are in good health, do not take that for granted.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who lives with so many chronic health conditions, it's so interesting seeing people who are healthy and they're just like, I don't know, they don't realize how lucky they are
Yeah.
that they don't
Yeah.
have this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, don't take it for granted because it's actually quite rare.
So true.